Hello and welcome back to this look into GMGOW of War difficulty. Here we find Kratos right where we left him, in bustling downtown Veithurgard. I think last time I called it Videgard, might be Veithurgard. Apologies for my pronunciations, for both the inconsistency and consistently wrong nature of them. Along those lines, I think I said last time one of my favorite grips was grip of Tangiest. I think it's probably supposed to be closer to Tangjost. I was doing a little Googling, and it seems to be related to Norwegians, please cover your ears. Tangjoster, something like that, which means teeth grinder. And it was the name of one of Thor's two goats that would pull his chariot, and who he would consume each night, only to take their bones in the morning and, using Mjolnir, resurrect them. So yeah, Taika Waititi did not invent those goats. They're a thing. Our Kratos is a level 2 dude, and if you remember, we're in the middle of trying to free the dragon that's chained up here on Veithurgard. We're heading towards the second dragon shrine, and here you're going to see me make several somewhat baffling decisions. So we start out by cleverly getting ourselves caught behind this masonry. Then we maneuver over so we're between the enemies and this cliff. Nice confined space, making it harder for us to use the cliff for ring outs. We ignore our flank, and then end with leaping into this caster's evasive AoE bomb. So yeah, not great. We now have to refight these guys because the save put us back before they were killed. And anyone that's played a Soulsborne game might recognize this phenomena. This is known as dying in the hallway on the way back to the boss that you're trying to fight, and it serves as a little warning sign, along with getting caught on masonry and things like that, that maybe I need to slow my roll, and that I might be starting to play a little bit on tilt, but that's not what I do. I press on. Right here, that move where you launch an enemy in the air and then use a heavy axe throw to send them into other enemies and frost everyone. Watching videos for this series kind of got me to realize I think I don't use that move enough. It's a super good move, and I try to use it more in Ragnarok if it is a mechanic in that game. You know, you slow everyone down and they become so much more vulnerable. It's just super powerful and useful. And constantly in rewatching this, I'm just seeing, you know, an enemy and a pile of enemies ways behind him, and I'm like, oh, you should launch that guy, please. And I rarely do. Usually I just use launches for ring outs or wall pins or just like fun without thinking about really deliberately sending one enemy into a big group of others. Here again, getting caught on some masonry, this time on the dragon shrine itself. Again, bit of a warning sign. Maybe time to put down the controller and do something else for a little while, buddy. But I ignore that. Here we're gonna get into a fight with a bunch of these projectile guys. Generally, bad idea to do what I'm doing here. Get in the middle and start trying to combo people. But we're gonna mitigate it by putting a lot of forward motion in our juggle, mostly using Whirling Storm. And I think as we travel across this area, there's explosions going off behind us. There's rounds going off in our wake, but we're able to evade them by continuing to move. So you see there, as soon as we stop, we catch one in the face. Unfortunately, we are not done seeing examples of questionable decisions on my part. As I said in a previous video, it can be rough watching your own gameplay. I think for this episode in particular, there are a lot of moments where I'm just shaking my head, like, what the hell are you doing, man? What are you hoping to accomplish with that? Probably similar to any Norwegians listening to me butcher some of these words. Some heavy poison guys. Of note for these guys, this move here where he does this 3 sort of ground pound unblockable attacks, that attack has a sort of a wider hitbox than you might expect. Like, it's not enough to just sort of dodge the swing. You have to give it pretty wide berth, or else you'll be caught in sort of the AoE explosion. We managed to keep this second guy from going elite. Didn't end up hurting him until now, so that's good. These guys, like the other poison guys, they'll back off and try to heal, like he just did there. We were able to prevent him. They can also, of course, block and interrupt your attacks, like he did there. And there he's trying to back off, and Atreus, that little kill stealer, popped him one in the liver, it looked like. That's my boy. Here, I think I forgot to grab the treasure that's over to the left of that entrance before coming in here. Oops. This guy, his sword seems to disappear for a few frames there. Here I get a little combo happy, and I ignored the prompt to grab this guy and punish for it. Couldn't quite pop that fire pot in time to hurt this guy with it. I probably should have launched him into it. Once he got too far. Here's another sign that I'm kind of on tilt. Make a run at this guy. I try to turn to push him into the other guy, but end up getting caught behind the gears there. It's very awkward. I think Atreus is a little embarrassed of his old man at this point. He's like, what the hell are you doing, man? What was that about? Everyone feels it, the awkwardness. This guy explodes himself rather than deal with the cringe of that moment. And here we are, the third and final dragon shrine fight. Again, I'm gonna get caught on this bit of masonry here. Almost getting electrified. I think at this point, oh, wait, this is pretty funny. I'm trying to stun this guy. He's so close to being stunned. I start ignoring my flank and then get to him and realize he's totally healed. All of these guys have full health now and I'm almost dead. God damn it. Well, what was even the point of that? Yeah, probably should have stopped playing at this point. Taking a little break, but I think even at the time I was thinking, oh, it's kind of dying a lot, but no, it's good to have some deaths. Like, it's a more representative view of playing on Gimme God of War mode. You know? I don't usually make it all the way to the Lake of Nine without dying a few times. Let's show people how the sausage is made, warts and all. Ew. The particularly disgusting mixed metaphor. Sorry about that. But here we find a way to stun him more effectively. And things should go a little better here. Despite me continuing to somewhat ignore my flanks and put myself in the middle. Yeah, you know, not just with this game, but games in general, we all, I think, find ourselves sometimes playing on tilt, just sort of mindlessly pressing buttons, carrying on when we know we're a little too tired to play, but that could be part of the fun, you know, as long as you're enjoying yourself and not intentionally filming your gameplay for some sort of tutorial video, it's fine. Let this some of this stuff serve as more of the don'ts than the do's part of this video series. You know, don't run into the middle of enemies. Don't just mindlessly press buttons. If you find yourself repeatedly getting caught on geometry, maybe put the controller down and do something else for a little while. And here's a couple shield guys, my nemesises, along with wolves. What if in Ragnarok there are wolves with shields? That would be like the ultimate enemy. Here I make a rare, for this session, decent decision to take out the projectile guy, and yay, get a block break. But then I make a bad decision and start trying to juggle that guy, and this guy's like, you call that a block break? I'll show you a block break. Yeah, I should have, when I launched that first shield guy, I should have just pinned him to the wall immediately, got rid of him. I don't know what I'm thinking, like, don't start trying to juggle people when you know there's another shield guy, like, right behind you, walking up behind you. It's just not gonna work out. Oh, well, it can't all be gold. So here we come to our third troll fight against Dowdy Hamar. And actually ended up learning something by watching this video, watching the replay here. Notice over my health bar there's that little circle with the fire showing my burning status. And now I'm on fire, and we use rage to extinguish it, but I kind of never look at that gauge when I'm playing, and as a consequence I didn't notice, like I knew that this guy had some sort of area of effect burning thing, but I thought it was associated with like here where there's obvious flames on the ground, but it turns out like basically that gauge starts filling up anytime you get near him, whether or not there are sort of obvious flames on the ground. And that sort of helps explain some of my deaths here. like I knew that he did some sort of AoE burning thing, but I didn't quite get the extent of it until watching this replay. That big leap he does with a big splash. There's a big splash in the direction he's leaping, so generally you're safer dodging like towards him to get around the side of it rather than away from it. Right here, watch that little status gauge. Like, because I never look at that, I had no idea like how close I am to catching on fire right here. And then, you know, I'm like, oh, this is going great. Like, and then suddenly, why the hell am I on fire? What happened? What hit me? Yeah, it wasn't until watching this that these things start to make a little more sense. And I'm talking as if I've never fought this guy before. Like, I have a few times. Like, I've been through on GMGOW mode a couple times, and still didn't quite get what was happening. It sort of goes to show you can play these games a lot and still not know everything. Anyway, this guy, yeah, he does that big leaping attack. He'll do the column slam and staggering step forward that second troll does right here. He also does this heel grind move where he slams his one leg, slams his heel into the ground and grinds it into the ground, and sort of summons lava to show up underneath you. And when he does that move, this right here, oh, I interrupted it. Well, we'll see if he does it again. But when he does his heel stomp and grind, you can, right here, this move, you can evade it, and then you have a chance to actually throw your axe into his leg. And if you sort of catch it while it's still kind of lit up, you'll stagger him a little bit, and it even seems to shut off his AoE burning effect very temporarily. Lets you run in and punish him a little bit. And I don't do that here because I didn't really know about it, but I'll see if I can put some footage of that at the end of this video. Well, I will end up getting through, even though I was sort of ignorant of the full picture of what was going on here. I knew, okay, there's some AoE thing going on I'm not aware of, and let's just limit our close exposure to this guy. Let's limit the amount of time we spend it right up next to him, and that ends up working out. Things to keep in mind in this fight, you know, try to be aware of all these pillars and like the crank mechanism and the lock for the door. These things you can get hung up on. Give yourself space to evade, like when he does his big leaping attack. I think I got away with that one. That kind of looked like it should have hit me. I'm coming up here, going to do something that I said in an earlier video that I rarely do, which is turn on rage and just sort of leave it on, just to wail on this guy. At this point, I think I was like, I don't need to fight this guy anymore. Let's just make sure we get this done. He's pretty low health. So yeah, I need to remember, launch people into other people more, and pay more attention to the status gauges. Notes for next time. From him we get the Horn of Heimdall, which is a rare blue talisman. It's pretty good. You do this big shield gong, which is pretty great. And it's an active ability. I often sort of forget to use those active talisman abilities. Like in a previous video, I was at pretty low health, and I had a healing talisman, the first one you get from Frey's Basement, and I just never thought to use it. Although in my defense, in GMGOW mode, if your health is that low, that thing gives you such little health back. It usually doesn't make that much of a difference. Like, most enemies will one-shot you regardless when you're that low. But that's not why I didn't use it. I just didn't even think of it. So used to the talismans with passive abilities, like Kvasir. We've got to do a little backtracking here to grab some buried treasures. The first at Veithurgard, and the second at the Isle of Death. So If you want to skip this pretty uninteresting part, jump ahead about 30 seconds or so. Alright, we're heading towards Volunder Mines, our next stop in the clockwise tour of the lake. Here we'll do a little favor for Brock. He's looking for a ring, upgrading our stuff. We're like a mid-high level 2 now. We're going to grab Freezing Burst, our last unlocked available axe skill, and I should have gotten Countering Strike here, the basic counter punch move, but instead I got Haymaker Crush. I think Countering Strike would have been a little more useful for us at this point. Here, Volunder Mines have these Nightmare Parasites, which of course can possess and buff enemies, like this guy. Buffed enemies constantly heal and have like greatly diminished hit reactions. You can't really trip them or launch them under normal means. See his health bouncing back up every time the axe hits him. I noticed when it's these little draugr the possessed enemies seem sort of extra vulnerable to Executioner's Cleave. Right there, that move where the Nightmare Parasite sort of tries to attack Kratos physically, sort of makes a beeline for his chest like it's trying to possess him. That move gives me trouble often. It comes pretty quick and can be hard to block, hard to catch, especially if they're coming from off screen. You don't really get any warning. Here's I think our 4th revenant, and we're gonna throw the axe. I know I can't hit her while her shield is up. I'm just trying to shoo her over towards the ledge there so we can get a ring out with rage. And then I realize, hey, I don't have a full rage meter. This is the price we pay for using it on that troll earlier. So we're just gonna have to fight this one the old-fashioned way. Oof. I think I was going for a late parry with those, and it wound up being a little too late. Here, Kratos and Atreus somehow spot on a finger on this hand sticking out of this Soul Eater the ring that Brock is after. We'd like to relieve the Soul Eater of that ring, but before we can even try to do that, we're going to have to get back through this room we just came from, which holds a fight that can be somewhat tricky. And as we've seen, my play is not super reliable right now. Will this trend continue? Will my colorful decision making maybe make this fight harder than it needs to be? Spoiler alert, yes, definitely. But that's just going to have to wait until next time. So I'll talk to you then.